Have you ever felt like self-esteem is this vague, fuzzy concept that you can't quite get a handle on? Well, what if you could approach it like an engineering project? Today, we're going to look at a blueprint for actually deconstructing and rebuilding your self-esteem to create a much stronger foundation for, well, everything in your life.
Okay, let's dive right in. And to make this real, let's start with a few questions. Now, this isn't a test or anything, it's just a chance to reflect and see how this whole idea of self-esteem is actually showing up for you day to day.
So think about the last time you hit a wall. A tough project at work, a difficult conversation. Did you feel your confidence just take a nosedive? It's a super common reaction, and it really shows how fragile our self-esteem can be when we tie it to what's happening around us instead of what's inside us.
And that feeling connects directly to our performance, doesn't it? Think of your self-worth as your motivational fuel. When that internal tank is running on empty, it is so much harder to stay focused and driven. And that can create this vicious cycle, right? Low confidence leads to lower productivity, which just reinforces the low confidence.
And this brings us to the big one, maybe the most important question of all. Are you holding yourself back? Is that little voice of self-doubt, that fear of not being good enough, causing you to play it safe and shy away from the really big opportunities? It's wild to think about how our self-esteem can put this invisible ceiling on our own ambitions.
So when you put all that together, it becomes pretty clear that self-esteem is way more than just a mood. It's kind of like our internal GPS. It's quietly guiding our choices, and over time, it determines the entire path we take in life.
So what is it really? At its heart, self-esteem is just the core belief you have about your own value. And that belief, whether you're aware of it or not, is the engine driving pretty much every choice and decision you make.
This slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? It shows two completely different ways of operating. On the left, you've got this reactive mode, avoiding challenges, feeling like you don't really deserve good things. And on the right, you have a proactive state, one that's driven by purpose and self-care. It's a super clear way to see the real-world impact of what we believe about ourselves. So the question is, which side feels a little more familiar to you on an average day?
So if you find yourself living on that left side more than you'd like, how do you cross over to the right? Well, the idea we're exploring here is that it's not about wishful thinking. It's about a structured, step-by-step process. It's about personal re-engineering.
And here's that blueprint. Look how it starts with the foundation. Makes sense, right? You can't build a strong house on shaky ground, so you have to start with an honest look at where you are now. Then you move to building self-respect by figuring out your core values, what you really stand for. Day 2 is all about action, igniting self-love with daily rituals and community, and cementing self-worth through acceptance and taking ownership. And it all comes together in an action plan to make sure these changes actually stick.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? We all know that just understanding something isn't enough. Real, lasting change comes from doing the work.
And that's where this gets really cool and hands-on. This isn't a boring lecture. We're talking about digging into case studies, practicing new skills in role-playing scenarios, all in a totally safe space. The whole point is to move past just thinking about these ideas and start actively building the skills so these new mindsets become second nature.
All right, so you go through this whole process, you do the work. What's the payoff? What's the so what? Let's look at the real, tangible changes you can expect to see in your life. And you can see exactly how the blueprint leads to these outcomes. That step about defining your values, boom, that's what empowers you to be a more assertive communicator. That part about practicing acceptance, that's the key to handling conflict with confidence. See, these aren't just pie-in-the-sky goals, they are the direct results of building a solid foundation from the inside out.
I love this quote. It really just says it all, doesn't it? The most important project you will ever work on is you. So much of our external world, our careers, our relationships, it's all just a reflection of the relationship we have with ourselves. When you look at it that way, working on your self-esteem isn't just self-care, it's a strategic investment in every single part of your life.
So, the final thought this leaves us with isn't if change is possible. It's about what it looks like to be strategic about it. So I'll ask you, what would it mean for you to stop just hoping for more confidence and instead start engineering it?